Hi and welcome back. Today we'll build on the previous flow, and I will use a roller today. If you don't have a roller, you can use a couple of blocks. And I'm also going to use a strap and a block. So again, if you need the props, go ahead, pause the video, grab them, and we'll start again on the back with a dead bug like in the previous flow, but we will do a bit different variation today. We'll start with a couple of pelvic tilts to find that neutral spine, and then use your exhale to come into that reverse tabletop position. And we'll start with those toe dips, just like last week. Keep the hands on the pelvis as you drop the foot down, touching the toes, the big toe down to the mat. And if that feels very steady, if your hips feel very steady and you feel like you're in control of your core as you move the leg away from center, which is the prerequisite for the next move, then you can proceed. If not, then please keep working with this one. But if you're ready, then you're going to exhale, and instead of keeping the leg bent, you're going to extend it long. Inhale, bring it back. And as you exhale, extend the leg. Bring it towards the floor, but don't drop it. Keep it hovering here, and notice your lower back. You're not arching. You have not lost that core integrity, which is essential for this exercise. Again, inhale, exhale, lower. You can inhale here, hovering the leg, and as you exhale, bring it back. So remember, always effort on the exhale. So if bringing the leg back towards the center feels quite effortful, then you can pause, inhale here, and then as you exhale, bring it back. Keep noticing what happens in the core. If you start bulging, if you start arching, then this move is not for you. I would rather have you do this one as long as your core stays contained and your lower back stays flat. Only when you feel like you are in control enough of your core and you're not arching or you're not bulging, can you proceed to this one. And then again, after 8 to 10 reps, gather the knees in, give yourself a little break, rock side to side, do what you like to do. Maybe just lift the legs and give them a little wiggle, whatever feels good. And we'll do one more from the back here for the deep core. So your dead bug that we did last time with opposite knee, hand to knee presses, we're going to do the same. But this time, again, starting with the neutral spine and core engaged. As you exhale, you press the hand into the knee and you open the opposite knee out to side. So again, more difficult, more core control necessary to do that. I like to keep my feet flexed just to keep the legs engaged. Inhale. As you exhale, press the hand into the knee and lower down. You don't have to go very low. You can go halfway down only. The focus is to stabilize the hips with the breath and your core control. So you only go as low as you can maintain that hip stability and that core engagement. Cannot stress this enough. That's the whole point of the exercise. So you should feel like your core is burning. Inhale. Exhale. Just 4 or 5 on one side, that's enough. Next time you come back to center, switch the sides. I like to open the other arm out just to keep a bit more balance and give myself a bit more stability in my body. A bit more stability as I open the leg out to side. And you can see how I'm shaking because my inner thighs are working, which means that my pelvic floor is also working. because your inner thighs are basically blended into your pelvic floor. So this is all around great hip stabilizing, deep core strengthening exercise. And last one on this side. And then roll to side and come to a tabletop. Good job. Now we're going to grab the block and come into that knee down on the block position for some internal, external hip rotation exercise. But this time we're going to extend the right leg out. Find your neutral spine. If you like a bit of cat-cows, if you like a bit of movement, take what you need. Then press the floor away. Spread your scapula. Find your core. Draw your lower ribs in and hover the leg off the mat. You can do it a couple times, trying to keep the core steady and just lifting from your hamstrings. Your hamstrings are and your glutes are contracting to lift the leg into that hip extended position. So it doesn't have to be very high. I want it actually lower. And we're going to move from the internal hip rotation position to the external. So you might want to come to fingertips when you come, open the hips to the side. And then drop it down as you come into the internal hip rotation. So what is happening here? I try to keep this left thigh steady. Obviously there is some movement, but I try my best to stabilize that hip. Use that glute, and you will feel the action in the left glute as you move through this. And now I'm going to drop the right side pelvis towards the left inner thigh. This is your internal hip rotation position. And then I'm going to open the right side pelvis, the right hip bone, out to side, almost like I want to stack the right hip bone over the left hip bone. The left leg, the left knee is like a metal rod on top of that block. So we're trying to stabilize the left hip as we move the right hip in the hip socket. It's like you're moving the hip bone in the hip socket. And of course your left, since the pelvis is rotating, opening into that open position and then closing here, the pelvis is moving on top of your left hip bone, on top of your left femur bone, and that's why you also feel like the left leg is also internally and externally rotating. If it's too confusing, don't worry about it. Just feel into the hips, and hopefully you feel a lot. This is also a great hip stabilizing exercise, and it helps to release the pelvic floor and helps lower back. Okay, let's do the other side. Stand on the right knee, extend the left leg out. Find your neutral spine. Find your push. Lower ribs in. Hover the leg a couple of times. Find that hip extension without arching your spine. And then from here, open the pelvis to the left. Stack the left hip bone on top of the right hip bone. Come to the fingertips on the left side if you need. And then drop the left side of your pelvis down in the direction of your right inner thigh. So the leg moves as one. You might notice if you look at my left toes that they point down as I come into the, and almost to the right side when I come to the internal hip rotation, and then they lift up and pointing up towards the ceiling as I come to the external hip rotation. Keep moving like that. A few more rounds. And hopefully you feel a lot on this right side. Try to keep the right knee steady, right hip steady as you move the pelvis, as the pelvis rotates on top of that right femur bone. Good. I'm definitely feeling it on the right side. I like to take a break in down dog just to stretch the hips a little bit. You don't have to straighten the knees out. You can keep them bent. Maybe walk it out, maybe shift side to side. Move however you like to move. And then bring the right foot forward. Step it through. Now we're going to come into a lunge position. You can use the blocks for this one. In fact, I would like you to use the blocks for this one. Hands on the blocks. So we are in a low lunge here. It can be a shorter lunge. If you need to pat the back knee, please pat the back knee. There shouldn't be any pain in the knees on either side as we move through this. So the hands will stay on the blocks. We'll stay in this position. And we're going to try to move the pelvis just from this more difficult position. So you're trying to again tuck and tilt just like you're doing in the cat-cows. Right? So obviously it's a lot harder to do from here because your legs are open in this low lunge, but you can still find a bit of movement. And I want you to focus on scissoring the hips together, like you want to draw your inner thighs back together here when you tuck the pelvis. You can even maybe come into the heel of the right leg as you scissor the legs in and engage your inner thighs. Feel how that turns on your pelvic floor too. And then relax into it, untuck the pelvis, maybe drop the hip a little bit lower. You can use the blocks to press the hands into the block as you scissor the hips again towards each other, trying to almost like you want to round your lower back. And your core is engaging in this position. And in this position, you're just relaxing and letting go. And you can go a few times like that. I like to always stay at least 4 or 5 reps on each side until you feel a bit fatigued. Next time you tuck the pelvis under, feel also how the hamstrings turn on here. And then take a break. Blocks to side, hands down, lift the hips, step back. From your down dog, let's do the other side. Step your left foot forward or find your way into your lunge, however it feels comfortable for you. Set those blocks. Again, if you need to pat the knee, you can bring something underneath that right knee. A cushion, fold the mat, whatever it is. And let's start with those pelvic movements. Tuck and tilt. Scissor the hips together, come into the left heel, lift the left toes up. Engage your inner thighs, round your lower back, and then relax and drop the hips down. Scissor the hips together, engage your hamstrings, your inner thighs, and then relax. Harder than it looks. Couple more rounds, just like that. Strengthening the hamstrings also helps the lower back. That's why this is another good one to relieve any discomfort in the lower back. Nice. 1 or 2 more. And last one. Good. Now we're gonna come and work with the upper body. Just like we did with the shoulder flossing last week, you can use the strap or a towel or whatever you're using to do those hip flossing movements. Only this time, instead of doing them seated, we're going to do them prone, which is harder because you can't cheat as much. And by cheating, I mean arching into your lower back, borrowing from your lower back. So if you're ready for this one, you're going to lay down on your back and you're going to bring the strap in front of you with your arms extended. Then as you inhale, you're going to lift up, and as you exhale, you're going to lower down. Do this a couple of times. As you lift up, you're going to reach forward with your hands and back with your toes, right? So it's like you're making yourself longer. The head can stay down, and then as you exhale, bring the strap over towards your bum and bring it back. So the gaze stays down. You can even keep the forehead down. You don't need to be lifting here. This is just isolating the shoulder mobility. So if this is too hard, you do this exercise seated and you go to only the extent that feels good in your shoulders. But this is the progression from the other week. So you are keeping your lower back long, pressing your pubic bone into the mat, pressing your lower ribs into the mat. So your core is contained. The glutes are on as you lift up and over. Otherwise, you might start feeling into the lower back, but if you keep that pubic bone pressing down and lower ribs pressing down, you're keeping your core engaged, you're keeping your glutes engaged, then this should not create any discomfort in your lower back. And we're just working the shoulder mobility, the upper body mobility, which is essential for our posture and our breathing. Very good. Whenever you need a break from this, you come to your tabletop, do a couple of cat-cows or shoulder hip circles, taking a little break. And we're just going to do 2 more exercises from the back to strengthen the hamstrings and then lengthen them. So you're going to come back down through your side into your back and find your glute bridge position. So we always do some sort of a glute bridge exercise. This time, as always, you can begin with gentle pelvic rocks, pelvic tilts, to release any tension, to reset. And then the exercise looks like that. You're going to exhale and lift the hips up. Doesn't have to be very high lift. You can if you feel comfortable, but you don't have to. Then you're going to come into the heels. And you're going to walk your heels out one at a time. Maybe 4 little walks, little steps, and then 4 steps back towards your bum. If it helps you to lift high and you can, then go higher. Otherwise, stay low. Just try to walk as far as you can, almost to straighten your legs out or straightening your legs all the way out. And this should feel like a burn in your hamstrings and in your glutes eventually. If you can walk them all the way out, but keeping the hips lifted, then you can do that. If that's too much and if you start feeling it in the lower back, then don't. Then just walk to the position where you can still feel like it's your glutes and your hamstrings, not your lower back, that is doing the work. And we're gonna walk, walk, walk a few more rounds. This is again to strengthen your back body, particularly the hamstrings in this exercise. These ones are called hamstring walkouts. If this exercise doesn't work for you, you might want to keep working with your glute bridge until your hamstrings and your glutes are strong enough to keep you up in this position. Good. And then when you feel complete, lower down. Bring the knees in. And we're going to stretch the hamstrings a little bit. So you can bring your hands behind your left leg. You can keep the right knee bent, right foot on the floor. You can extend the leg out if that feels comfortable without arching your lower back. And just point and flex your foot, your left foot. Notice how you feel when you flex the toes in the direction of your knee. Feel the stretch in the back of the leg. If you want, you can rock it a little bit closer. If this does not feel comfortable or you need a bit more support, you can also use a strap, holding the leg anywhere else that feels manageable, and the length of the strap can determine where you want to hold it. The focus is just on releasing your hamstrings here. So you can hold it in a position that's comfortable for you. Trying to keep the knee straight, but without locking it out. And then switch the sides when you feel complete on the left. Point and flex, just like we did on the other side, if that felt good. And maybe gentle ankle rolls, if that was good. And then if you like, again, using the strap or just hugging the back of your right thigh. Giving your hamstring a little break, a little stretch. Take a deep breath in and a full breath out. And then once you feel complete, remove the strap, remove all the props out of your way, and find your way into a comfortable final relaxation. One more deep breath in. And a full breath out. Stay for a minute or two.